Yeah, like I said, I got Philly. I got Philly in that series, bro. I think Philly, again, I just think that Joel Embiid, even if he doesn't play like a great offensive series, I think his attention, the fouls he's going to draw, the way he's going to be able to control the game just from drawing fouls and getting fouls, grabbing rebounds, and getting the big men that they have in trouble. I don't think that the Knicks have enough outside of Julius Randle to win that series. I don't. And I like the Knicks. I picked the Knicks. But if the Knicks would have had Julius Randle, I would have picked the Knicks in that series. But I think you guys, some of you guys, undervalue Julius Randle and what he brings to the table. Not only as far as rebounding, facilitating with the 6-7 assists that he does for other guys on the team, being able to free up the guard play with Jalen Brunson a lot more than what's going to happen now. Now they're going to give Jalen Brunson the AI treatment in the playoffs, and we're going to see if he's able to overcome those double teams and triple teams that's going to be thrown at him. And you're going to depend on Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart and guys like that to step up and have monster games in the playoffs when it's all on the wood. So now we're going to see, because I don't think they're going to get out of that, man. I think them losing Randall is going to be big, and they're going to come back after the series go with and say, hey, man, Ticket, you're right. The Philadelphia 76ers have a very good team, man. I picked them to be in the conference finals against the Bucks, but the way it lined up, they're going to play the Bucks early, but I just think that they got a very good team, man, all the way across the board. They got minus James Harden. With the guys they got now, I like their team better than I liked it last year.
How many teams you think?
Chill, let's start with you.
I think this is a Tibbs type of series. A lot of dirty work guys, a lot of guys who dive on the floor for loose balls. Josh Hart, I feel like he's going to be the X factor in this series. The 76ers do not have a guy who could potentially at the guard spot that could get you 15, 20 rebounds. And those are going to end up being a lot of second chance points that the Knicks can capitalize on. Having a perimeter player in OG Anunoby, who also causes so many problems on the defensive end. I think that this Knicks team, I think that they cause a lot of trouble for the 76ers with guys like Tobias Harris, who looked faulty last night against a Miami Heat defense, who I think the Knicks defense is a lot better than them. The idea of trying to blitz Jalen Brunson, I think that's a bad idea, because Jalen Brunson is actually really good getting blitzed, and he's actually been making better reads. I don't think that the Sixers have the personnel to continuously blitz him. I think that he'll take advantage of that. Coupled with, I don't think that the Knicks are going to turn the basketball over as much as Miami did. I think that they're going to create more turnovers, because Philly proved last night playing against the Heat that they will give the basketball up. And I think the Knicks, because that's their staple, they capitalize on stuff like that. I think the Knicks can handle Philly in 6 games.
All right, what you got, Ox?
Yeah, I agree. I don't even know if it'll go to 6. I think this is going to be a real easy series for the Knicks.
You think they served them out?
Oh yeah, this is a good. What I've seen from Joel Embiid is like maybe he did retweak his knee that last game, like you were saying, Morris, or maybe he's just still out of shape. The only thing is, the Knicks are going to put too much pressure on him for it. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? If he's not ready for this series, 70% Joel is not going to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Brunson is better than Tyrese Maxey. I mean, and the Knicks. And then the Knicks, the thing about the Knicks right now is kind of like what I said about the Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards not having Cat there. Without having Julius Randle there, it lets some of those other guys play a little more free. You know what I'm saying? Where you can have big games from Dante, Bojan, OG, what's his name, Josh Hart, where they're gonna get some more shots in the rhythm of the offense, as opposed to having Julius Randle with the ball in ISO. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more free flowing. I think the Knicks got the best player in the series right now because Joel Embiid is hurt still, just severely out of shape. He's hampered in some form or fashion. So with that being said, Jalen Brunson is the best player in the series, and it's a free flowing offense. They're going to apply a lot of pressure, play a physical style of defense. Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein down there with Joel, he's not going to have a cakewalk even if he's healthy. So I think Knicks in 5.
Could 2 things be true? Could his knee, he could have retweaked his knee and he's out of shape? Or
certainly. He's definitely out of shape. That's for sure.
Right.
His
jumper looks horrible right now, too.
He's out of shape.
Flat. Yeah,
but he's still a monster down there. Let's not,
I'm not going to argue that. I think that the Knicks,
when he gets his big ass down there,
I think the Knicks can speed the game up, man, because I watched Joel Embiid yesterday, and I don't think Bam ran the floor nearly as much as he should have, because I caught Joel Embiid in the backcourt a bunch of different times. Yeah. A bunch of different times. He was at half court running. I'm thinking to myself, with the Knicks, the kind of defense that they have, But with the Knicks, with the kind of defense that they have, they can speed the game up.
And he was laboring the whole game. Like he
was, yo.
Some of that he's a little bit of a showman. He's always been a showman though.
Yeah.
But like he also legitimately laboring. So yeah,
Well,
man. Go ahead.
Well, swipe it. This is the thing I want to say too about the Isaiah Hartenstein and specifically Mitchell Robinson. One thing I always knew is if I had a guy that was maybe a heavier set guy, you know what I'm saying, he can't move as well as me. I'm on the offensive glass. You know, Joel being out of shape, it's going to be, his rebounding is going to be a little slower getting to the ball, seeing where the ball is going and getting to that spot. Mitchell Robinson is going to be on that offensive glass. That's one of his staples. So that's another issue. You know what I mean?
That happened yesterday when they were on the Heat were on the offensive glass, and
right.
Joel Embiid looked slow of foot. I feel like if you can run him, I feel like more than anything, if you could run him, you could get those guys you could get them in real bad situations. Run Joel Embiid, make him defend in transition more than anything. And I think that tires him out at the end of games. They didn't do that yesterday with him. They didn't. Bam in particular. Because I saw a lot of open rim opportunities for Bam, and they didn't do that.
Mars, talk to me about this series and your predictions on what's going to happen and why you think it's going to happen.
Everyone knows I had Philly going to the finals. I no longer have Philly going to the finals. Yeah, Joel's not right. He's not. It is what it is. I had faith. His knee buckled against the Pistons. He came back in the game. That was a good sign. Then he plays the next game against Orlando. Same thing happens. And he just hasn't looked the same ever since that happened. So I give him credit for playing. But yeah, the Sixers aren't winning without Embiid being able to be himself. And he's just very clearly not himself, whether that's like he's not in shape and he's not healthy. Those two combined, I don't think they have enough to make it to the finals. Now, this series is going to be interesting because Nick Nurse has his little reputation of not allowing stars to play well against his teams. No matter what the other players will do, he will make sure that star player will have 2 points. He takes pride in making sure stars can't score. And watching the Knicks and how they operate, Jalen Brunson, one of the most ball-dominant players in the NBA, Nick Nurse is going to do everything in his power to get the ball out of his hands and make the other guys make decisions, make them have to create shots for themselves. It's not going to be just put Kyle Lowry on him and double team him. It's going to be box and ones, triangle and twos, a bunch of different things they're going to start throwing at Jalen Brunson that he's going to have to navigate. Do I think he can do it? Possibly. Do I think the Sixers have the personnel to execute it flawlessly with Joel Embiid hampered mobility-wise? I don't know. That's why I don't know who's going to win the series. If I had to pick right now, I'd lean towards the Knicks just because Embiid is just so far from what he needs to be. But I can see the avenue for the Sixers, and that's because Jalen Brunson can't have a mediocre series. And if he does have a mediocre series, I don't think it'll be his fault. I'm not going to be like Jalen Brunson's a playoff dropper because I can already see how.
Do you think his skill set would even lend him to having a mediocre series? Like, what do you even think a mediocre series could look like for Jalen maybe in that series?
It would just be inefficient scoring. I think the volume will be consistent because they need him to put up points. Their offense falls apart without Jalen Brunson. But I think it would just be inefficient. I don't know what his true shooting or whatever is this season. Probably 61% or 60%, something like that. I don't know. It's just gonna drop. It's gonna be a very high volume, lower efficiency.
You think maybe 6 or 7 free throws a game for him in this series?
It depends on how the refs call it, because the refs be letting the Knicks get away with a bunch of fouls. So if they let the Knicks get away with a bunch of fouls, they're gonna have to call it both ways like that, which means it might be a very grind.
You know, I'm excited for. I want to see what OG does. Like if he plays a power forward, especially in some of those maybe Deuce, Dante, Jalen line or something like that. I want to see OG get an opportunity to swarm. Could OG even versus Embiid 1v1 at the nail? That's another matchup.
They be letting OG hack. So I mean, right. That's the thing. It's going to be the refs are going to dictate this series. Are they going to give Embiid his fouls that he normally gets in the regular season, or is he going to let the Knicks get away with the fouls they clearly commit in the regular season? The refs are going to have a big factor on this. Go ahead.
Joel Embiid should definitely take care of that. He should definitely take advantage of that matchup if he got OG Anunoby on him at the nail.
But OG's like Al Horford though, super strong at the point of attack.
Right, I can definitely get with that. But with that being said, with Joel Embiid, even though he's not who he is in terms of health, if I get him 14 feet away from the basket, if I get him at the mid post, I should be able to take advantage of him. Now, something different.
The same thing with Drew Holiday last year, though, remember? They were putting Drew on him at times because of the center of gravity.
Yeah, that was.
There's going to be help. It's not going to be like, oh, you just leave it on an island. Like you're going to have Mitchell Robinson in the gaps, Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart, and it's just they're going to try and block off the lane, and they're going to try and make him be the jump shooter. It's going to be about discipline on the up fakes, not jumping into his landing space, all of those things. Tibbs is a big practitioner of just disciplined defense. So they're going to try and limit his free throws. The refs are going to let the Knicks play physical. So I don't. If Embiid isn't Embiid, I have a hard time seeing them able to win. But I also see the way that Nick Nurse is able to scheme stars out of series. But when he has done that, he's had great defensive personnel. This team,
he doesn't.
I don't know what DeAnthony Melton is. I don't think he's going to be available from game one. So you got Kelly Oubre, Nick Batum, Kyle Lowry. They're the only ones who I think you can trust reasonably at the point of attack. And then obviously it's going to be about where you position everyone else in help. How can you use Embiid? Because right now Embiid doesn't leave the lane. Embiid is playing 90s defense right now. No 3-second violation. He is not leaving the paint. Right. And every time he does leave the paint, he's looking at his teammates like, why are you making me step out here? We need to rotate. He's not trying to leave the paint. And Nick Nurse is aware of that. So what is he going to do to make sure that the Knicks don't have an advantage on the perimeter? It's going to be a very, very interesting series. I got the Knicks winning, but I can see how the Sixers can get it done. But I'm hoping the Sixers win. I'm putting that all out there. I want the Sixers to win. I want Embiid to be able to play his way into health and shape. So I want him to have a playoff run. But I got this.
I don't love Joel Embiid at the top of the key, always asking for the basketball, neither during the zone when you already got two guards out there. That's not that difficult to guard, because when he comes out to the top of the key and he's basically standing in between both Maxey and Kyle Lowry, what he's doing is now he's making that one guy in the zone, he's able to guard two people. And if Joel Embiid were to stay in the middle of the zone, or Joel Embiid were to stay at the mid post, I think he makes it more difficult, as opposed to when both of those guys are there and they're a little bit closer. We do need more spacing. I will say that. We do need more spacing with both Kyle Lowry and Maxey. Not just necessarily shooting, just from a zone offense. That's one of the main reasons why you play. That's one of the main reasons in a zone offense. You get wide to make the zone get wide so you can penetrate the zone. But when Joel Embiid steps in the middle of those two guys, you shrink the zone. You shrink your zone offense, and you make yourself less difficult to guard. So I'm really not feeling Joel Embiid at the top circle like he was last night against Miami.
I liked it, but
I do think Joel got to get in that paint this series. I don't think Joel's scared to get in the paint. It's more so a matter of whether
a lot of bodies in the paint, though, bro. They're very aggressive too.
And he's the biggest body. Do we classify Joel as soft?
No,
like, that's a serious question. No, that's a serious question.
It's not a soft.
He's not soft. He's fragile.
He's fragile. He doesn't take advantage of his size. He's never taken advantage of his size like that. Never. Even in the best series he's ever had was the Toronto series. I think he averaged 22, 9 and 3 with 4 turnovers or whatever. Shot 39% from the field. He's never taken advantage of his size. He just doesn't have that kind of game. He's a jump shooter. That's what he does.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think he's soft. I just think he falls in love with shooting the ball. He falls in love with wanting to be out there and playing that style of ball. But I've never thought of him as being soft. I think they should, pound the paint and try to, because the refs have to let him play. This has to be a physical series. If the refs don't let him play, it's going to be a whole lot of fouling out this series. So he's got to just dominate the paint. If he can do that, stop, maybe limit his running, limit his moving around out there on offensive end a little bit. Maybe you can save that knee a little bit. Just get on the block and work.
Why are we talking about the refs, yo? Why are we doing that? I mean, the playoffs in the regular season, sure, the game is more physical in the playoffs, but I mean, you want me to blow the whistle. Why do you want me to blow the whistle sometime? Like, am I going to blow the whistle or not? Which one is it?
I think if there's a foul, they should blow the whistle. But this season in particular, it's just been inconsistent. They made their conscious decision to stop calling fouls on drives, and now they're just missing clear fouls for the sake of not giving free throws, which is weird to me. And the Knicks are like, I've never seen a team get away with fouling people as much as the Knicks. So if they're doing that in the regular season, I can only assume in the playoffs it's going to be the same thing but worse. And the Sixers and Embiid being a guy who gets to the free throw line as much as he does. I think
Maxey too. You know
yeah,
he
this
likes to
this
put
is a
his head
series
down,
that
so.
this is a series where I think the refs have a huge fingerprint on it. And I'm not saying, oh, the refs got to be better. I'm not doing any of that. I don't care. I'm just saying I think this is a series where the refs are going to have a huge impact on how this series goes. Are they going to call the fouls that Embiid earns, or are they going to let the Knicks get away with the fouls that they clearly commit that they don't call? It's going to be a big deal. But